All right, so for today's unit, we are starting with SOL 8.3, A, B, and C, square and cube roots. This is going to be the second SOL topic in our unit 1. So looking here, we have the overview of it. We're just going to be focusing on A, which is square and cube roots, or excuse me, square roots of whole numbers and monomial expressions. But this vocabulary covers for the entire unit. Some essential questions, again, covering for the entire unit. How is finding the square root of a whole number different from finding the square root of an algebraic expression, and how are they the same? This is going to focus on primarily part A. All right, the relationship between perfect squares and perfect cubes. That's going to give us part of A and B. Understanding combining like terms. Again, that's going to be part of A. And then the last question is going to be a part of A, B, and C. All right, so the learning targets for this lesson, by the end of this lesson, I can use prime factorization or the product of a perfect square to simplify square roots. I can express the square root of a whole number in simplest form. I can express the square root of a monomial algebraic expression in simplest form. All right, so let's look at some key vocabulary. Some of this we've heard before because we've used it in SOL 8.1 AB. So let's take a look at radical. So radical is simply your square root or your cube root symbol. But for this one, we're just going to be focusing on our square root. But radicals are your square or your cube root symbols. All right. Radicand is going to be the number underneath the radical. So the number underneath the radical. All right, so for example, when we talk about like the square root of 25, 25 is your radicand. All right, it works the same way for cube roots, and as you get further in math, other roots as well. So your perfect square, all right? So remember, your perfect squares are when you square a number. So for example, we know that 16 is a perfect square because we multiply 4 times 4. All right, so when we square 4, we get 16. All right, so then we can look at the square root as an example. So taking the square root of 16 tells us that number that's multiplied by itself. All right, so the relationship between perfect squares or squares and square roots is that they undo each other. So if I'm given 4 squared, I can square that to give me 16, but then I can also take the square root of 16 to give me 4. So they undo each other. You can square a whole number to get your perfect square. Remember, it's multiplying by itself. And then you take the square root to find the whole number that you multiply together. All right, so looking at factor. With factors, factors are numbers that we multiply together to get another number. So for example, if we look at 2 times 3, that equals 6. So 2 times 3 are factors. So 2 and 3 are factors of 6 because we multiply 2 and 3 to get 6. We can also look at examples such as 3 times 4, which gives us 12. So 3 and 4 are factors. We can also say that 2 times 6 they're also factors because they give us 12. And 1 times 12 is also a factor because it gives us 12 as well. All right, so then we can look at prime factorization. So simply prime factorization is finding multiply together to make the original number. So for example, if we look at 12, so I'll write it up here. So if we look at 12, We know that I can multiply 2 and 6. Then I know that I can multiply to get 6 to get 2. Multiply 2 and 3 to get 6. 2 and 3 are prime numbers. All right, so therefore we can see here that 3 is the prime number, 2 is the prime number, and 2 is the prime number. So we've broken that down into our prime factorization. We have broken it down into our prime number. So 2 times 2 times 3 gives us 12. All right, so let's take a little review of the area of a square. So the relationship between square and square roots. So remember, the area of the square is simply a equals side squared, or you've also heard a equals base times height. So remember that a square, all the sides are the same. So for example, if this square has a side of 4, that means that all of the sides are 4. So to figure out the area of the square, we just simply say a is equal to 4 squared, which is equal to 16. All right, so now we're going to look at, all right, how long is each side of the square? So now we're given the area of the square, and now we have to determine what the side is or how the side is. So remember the relationship between square and square roots. So you square a number to find the perfect square. You take the square root to find that number that you multiplied. So if my area is 121 units, I'm simply going to take the square root of 121. The square root of 121 is 11, so I know that one of my sides is 11. All right. Strategies for simplifying square roots. All right, so the strategy for simplifying square roots is very simple. Couples go out, singles stay in. Or in other words, groups of 2. All right, so here, I know it doesn't make too much sense right now, but here when we look at our radicals and we're looking at what's underneath the radical, we are simply going to break it down to our prime factorization, and then we're going to circle our prime numbers in groups of 2. So our groups of 2 are going to go outside of the radical. Our single groups are going to stay inside of the radical. So for the first example, we have the square root of 350. So what we're simply going to do is we're going to break down our 350. So I can multiply 35 and 10. 10 breaks down into 2 and 5. So I'm going to circle my 5, circle my 2. 35 breaks down into 5 and 7. Circle my 7, circle my 5. So this just simply tells me here I've broken down 350 into 5 times 7 times 2 times 5. So I've broken it down to my prime numbers. If we take a look here, and I'm going to change the color, I can see that I have a 5 there, I have a 5 there. So that's what we mean by groups of 2. So I have 2 5s. The 2 5s represent 1 5. All right, so remember groups of 2. So that means I have one group of 5. All right, I have one group of 2 5s. So that 1 5 is going to go outside of my radical. All right, now what I have left over is 7 and 2. 7 doesn't have another 7 to pair with. 2 doesn't have another 2 to pair with. So I'm just going to simply put those back underneath my radical. So that's where it comes from, where singles stay in. Again, I'm going to simplify that by multiplying 7 and 2. So I have 5 times the square root of 14. All right, so we're used to when we take the square root, we end up with the whole number. So now we're looking at when we don't have a perfect square, how we can simplify that radical in simplest radical form without having to put it in decimal form. All right, so the next example we're going to take a look at for the second one, we're going to take a look at the square root of 45 A3 B5C. All right, so here we have some variables. Here we have some numbers as well, so we're still going to break it down the same. So I'm going to pull 45 from underneath my radical. I get 15 times 3. My 3 is a prime number. It stays the same. And then I have that 5 times 3 is equal to 15. So I've broken down my numbers into radicals. Now let's take a look at our variables. So our variables, we can do the exact same thing. So a cubed is simply a times a times a. B to the fifth is simply b multiplied by itself 5 times. All right. Then we just simply have c. C is going to stay the same because there is no exponent. Well, there is an exponent. The exponent is 1. So we just have 1c. All right. So the same thing here, the groups of 2. I'm going to change my color. So taking a look here, I have 2 3s, one there, one there. So I have one group of 3s, of 2 3s. I have a group of 2 A's. I have 2 groups of 2 B's. All right, so remember that groups of 2. So you're looking for those groups of 2, but they represent one of either the variable or the number that you're looking at. And of course, my C stays the same. So let's look at what's going to go outside of the radical. So outside of the radical, I see that I have a group of 2 3s, so I know I'm going to have 3 outside the radical. I have a group of 2 A's, so I have A outside of the radical. I have 2 groups of B's, so I have B times B outside of the radical. And inside of my radical, my 5 is going to stay, my additional A is going to stay, my B is going to stay, and my C. So again, I can simplify this. What is B times B? B is going to be B squared, so I have 3AB squared times the square root of 5ABC. All right, so now I want you to pause the video and I want you to try the square root of 180. See if you can simplify that on your own and come back to the video and test it out yourself. All right, so if we take a look here, I'm going to change my color. I used 18 and 10 to break down 180. I break down 18 into 9 and 2. 2 is a prime number. I break 9 down into 3 and 3. 3 is a prime number. 10 breaks down into 2 and 5. 2 and 5 are prime numbers. So I see that I have 2 2s, which makes a group of 2. And I have 2 3s, which makes a group of 3. So that goes outside of my radical. And my 5 stays underneath of my radical because it is a single. All right, so let's look at an example of working backwards. So in the previous examples, we went through, we simplified to simplest radical form. Now we're going to look at when we're given the simplified version and we want to find the original radical. So if we think about this, this is a square root. So we said that we do groups of 2. All right. And what that simply means is each number outside of the radical, I had to have 2 of them in order to bring them outside of the radical. So remember, couples go out, singles stay in. So if we look outside this radical, I have 3x squared y. All right. So in order to bring this 3 out, I had to have a pair of 3's or 2 3's. All right. When you get to the square, it gets a little bit tricky. So I have x squared. All right. In order for me to have x squared, that means that I had 2 x's outside of the radical. So similar to the previous example when we had 2 b's and we simplified that to b squared. All right. So for each of those x's that I had outside of the radical, I had to have 2 x's. So that gives me a total of 4 x's. All right. So remember, in order for us to have that x squared, again, we had to have 2 x's outside of the radical, which means for each of those x's, I had to have 2 x's. And then in order to have my y outside, I had to have 2 y's. All right. That all gets combined with what's left underneath the radical. So you can see from this example, what's left underneath the radical is 2y. So I'm going to multiply by 2y. So I see that I have 3 times 3, which is 9, times 2 gives me 18. So far underneath my original radical, I have 18. I have 4 x's, so I have x to the 4th. I have y, 3. So 18x to the 4th, y3 was my original radical. All right. Now it's time for you to summarize what you've learned from this lesson and then complete your exit ticket.